welcome to the Serve2Perform Podcast. I am your host, Angelica Casares. On today's episode, we have the one and only, as you all know them, as your favorite guest, Dr. Adam Arroyo. How are you? ¿Cómo estás?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for the pressure that you just placed on me. No, happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so for today's topic, we're going to talk about building leaders. Yeah. More specifically, well-rounded leaders. Leaders that not only can lead in their space in terms of like where they're at on their day-to-day, but where they're at with their community, where they're at with their at work, and so forth. So my first question to you is, what does it mean to be a global leader, and why is it important?
You bet. So being a global leader is recognizing that not everyone is like you, right? That's on your team or that's within your company or within your community. And it's important to understand that depending on where you might have, grown up, has a lot to do with how you see the world, but also how you see work, how you see the role of a leader, what you expect from the role of a leader, how you view your role in the community, and how you view a number of things, which will be very different than someone else who might have grown in a different part of the world, right? And might have experienced things differently or seen things differently. And a global leader is about recognizing those differences and taking the time to really understand, what does that mean to my team in terms of how they will work together, how they will communicate with each other, how they will help each other. What does that mean to me as a leader, knowing that it's not a one-size-fits-all for everyone, right? And how do I ensure that everyone on my team feels like I see them, I hear them, I understand them, and I'm here to help them in the way they need me to help them.
So let's get a better understanding of when we say global leader. If we can just get not a definition, but explain what somebody, you see, you're trying to hire somebody, what attributes are you looking for? Or that I know that a lot of leaders mainly a lot of leaders, we all know that you can be trained into a leader.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So what attributes do you know when they've excelled or they succeeded in becoming a leader? What does that look like for an employee or a person that's leading the space? What does that look like? Because I know we know leaders. Everybody's very familiar with the word leader. But what does global leader mean?
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a title, right? It's not a role. It's a role. It's a type of leadership, right? So good question when you ask what are the attributes. The first one is, how do they lead? Do they lead from a point of authority, from a point of position, or do they lead from a point of serviceship? Yeah. Meaning, I'm here to serve the people that I have been entrusted to lead and to pour and to invest in, versus I'm here to demonstrate what I know and who I know and what I can get done. And these people are responsible to make sure it gets done. Yeah. So that's what I look for, is really in terms of how you view the role of a leader. Yeah. Where a global leader, they see themselves as, first and foremost, I'm here to serve. And I'm here to serve these folks. I report to these folks. It's not the other way around. And my job is to understand what they need from me and how I can help them and how I can help them do their job better and how I can help them be happier at work. And so it's recognizing, first and foremost, that they're not there to work for you. You're there to work for them and to help them. And so a global leader is recognizing that, look, every team is very different, and that diversity is synonymous for globalism. It used to be, if you wanted to, get exposure to a global team, you'd have to travel internationally. Nowadays, you don't have to travel very far. You just go to a company or team, and our teams are global. But a lot of leaders have not acknowledged that to the point where they've adapted their style of leadership to ensure that they are leading effectively for every single individual, regardless of where they might have come from.
I do see the difference. I do see leading the space within a group, right? But then when you start to lead a community,
Right.
whether that's in your like physical community or the
Right.
community in which you live in or the space that you're at, and also where you work.
Right.
Are you leading in both? Are you taking? That's a really great way to like define global leader. I've never thought of that. But okay, so that leads me into my next question.
Sure.
So my next question is, let's start talking about Serve2Perform because that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
That's what the podcast is for.
Right.
So how does Serve2Perform approach with leadership development and create global leaders?
So, it's a great question. And if you think of the Serve2Perform way of life, right, where we subscribe to this way of thinking that by just finding a way to serve others and the greater good, I'm going to access the things that I need to achieve things at the greatest level possible, right? So performance. We're constantly very inquisitive, very curious, because I tell folks, in order to lead a Serve2Perform way of life, you can't serve someone if you don't know what they need. And so it's in that process of being curious and asking that you understand, oh my gosh, they view the world so much different than I am. I need to adapt in a very different way to motivate them, influence them, support them. Does that make sense?
Yes. So sometimes we use the terms very general. You said we. Who is we?
So we are the leaders who subscribe to the Serve2Perform life. So my team, and I will tell you, we have many folks from the great clients that we serve that are part of this Serve2Perform community. And you use the word community, and I love that because that's exactly what it is. We all stand ready to activate and help any one of us at any given moment.
Good. I like the fact that you're defining that because we need to identify what does we mean because it's such a general statement, but it's, you know what, I think sometimes for the minority groups that are within the companies, we tend to use that term a lot, we.
Right.
And we never define what we means. And I think stepping into like who we are and identifying those people, that's how we can start identifying global leaders.
Right.
I can go on with the topic that we need it. There's humility. There's an attribute of like, and you said it best during this last like conversation that you were having with Lance Rosa, which by the way was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations to Lance also.
Thank you. He's great.
And I think he was the one that pointed it out. It's like we're going to the minority space, especially the immigrant. If you come from children of immigrant, if you're first, second, or third generation, one of the things that most identify us is like, if I work really hard, they're going to see me. And so we have the tendency to say things like we, but we never identify we.
Right.
We just hope we're referencing what people think they understand.
Right.
And taking ownership of what we are actually doing, the community. Serve2Perform is actually doing within the community.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because, if you think of a global leader, right, they recognize that, different cultures come with different attributes. And those attributes play out very differently in the workplace.
Yeah.
In terms of what people do and they don't do. To the point where some folks may be doing things or not doing things that are affecting their career development, which ultimately affects their career advancement because people are seeing something different than what's actually happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which affects the opportunities that are afforded to them. But on the other hand as well, those of us who have these attributes, if we don't know we have them, we don't know how they're working against us in the workplace. But we don't know how they're working against us as leaders, meaning that many times those of us who have been blessed with the opportunity to reach that VP or official level, there are things that we should be doing more of. You heard Lance share this point, which I couldn't agree more. We now have a platform to create opportunities for others. But those attributes at time without knowing, I'll give an example. and this is not only a set of attributes for Latinos, but it's for other communities I'm hearing as well. Mm-hmm. The strong work ethic, as you mentioned, and how we define it. Unless my hands get dirty, it's not work, right?
Yeah.
That volunteerism stuff, it's not work. And they don't connect the dots, right?
Philanthropy,
Exactly.
Serving the community.
Yeah, how's that that's not, my hands aren't getting dirty. It's not my job description. Without really understanding, it's if you're not doing that, you're not getting exposure, you're not getting visibility, you're not growing your leadership. Does that make sense?
It does.
You're not learning all those skills that you have to earn, that you're not going to learn doing the job or in the classroom. But no one tells us that. And so strong work ethic, respect for authority, this very important notion of being a team member. Don't rock the boat, right? Respect for authority, and I can go on. But as a leader, if I lead a team, those attributes, and I've seen this happen a lot, work against our leaders where they are not advocating on behalf of their people because they're afraid to. They're not asking for what they should be asking for on behalf. I'll give you an example, not just for their team members, but perhaps diverse suppliers that need advocacy within those companies. And the company needs them and wants to do business with them, but those Latino officers who are connecting with them are being held back because they cannot overcome those attributes, holding them back from going and asking the question and calling it like it is and speaking up when they need to speak up and leveraging their platform to do that. As Lance mentioned, that is their role, right? That's our platform to do that. But as a global leader, you recognize those attributes and how they work against people and how they play out at work so that you can make sure that they don't affect how you lead, right? But also in terms of how you work within the company as well.
Redefining leadership within ourselves. Redefining what leadership is. It goes beyond what people can see. Because sometimes we... what is the phrase is closed mouths don't get fed. It's a terrible phrase and I don't like it sometimes. It's terrible, but I can my mom just says sometimes you just gotta keep going, it's gonna. I'm like, yeah, Mom, but sometimes part of my service is what I like to do is also put other Latinas in front of me too. If I'm going, you're coming with me.
And I love what you said earlier about we, because it's pretty powerful if you can define the we, because what that means is that you have felt their support, you have felt their empowerment, and you trust in them that when you need them, they will be there. And that's pretty powerful to be able to say that. But you're right. If you think of anyone, regardless of your race, your generation, your gender, we cannot rely on the company or the organization we work for. We have to be the change. We have to be the example. We have to be the model. And when I say we, I mean every sense of the word. Every single one of us has to put in the work. As Lynn said, you've got to put in the work. You can't expect others to put in the work and then do the work for you.
So we're talking about all of the... coming back to the conversation of Serve2Perform, because I love the passion that you have, and the passion goes directly into Serve2Perform and everything you do with it. So really quick, on that note, what is Serve2Perform's process and how we achieve this, and what programs do we offer?
I love that. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, do you believe in what Serve2Perform is about or not? If you do, you believe that you cannot get anything done, without having the buy-in from others. If you believe that everyone in the room has something to contribute, right? You've got to believe that your ability, your capacity and capability to perform depends on what people allow you to do. That means, are they going to be a roadblock? Or are they going to be a tailwind? Are they going to be a resource? Are they going to be an advocate? Or are they going to do everything they can to stop you. Meaning that our first row is to make life better for others. It's not about you. It's not about others, right? I feel like we all have a social contract being on this great earth. And we need to recognize that social contract that we have, and that is that we all have a responsibility contributing to the greater good. We all live in the community we live in. We all live in this world. It's up to us to make it better, to be the world that we want it to be, but it takes every single one of us living that way. And so if you subscribe to the Serve2Perform way, these things that we hear a lot about, global leader, we're talking about this today, inclusion, equity, belonging, engagement, those things are the outcomes of a Serve2Perform way. Those aren't the end goals, right? Those are the means. And so I tell folks it's all about how leaders treat each other, how leaders work with each other, how leaders live with each other. If you're doing it in that way where people are constantly asking themselves, Angelica, how can I help? Angelica, how are you doing today? Not just, as a rhetorical question, how are you doing today, and then walking away, but being very serious and about how are you doing because I want to help. Being
intentional.
Very intentional. Not just with asking, but with following through. Yeah. Listen. A lot of times we don't listen. We just ask to check the box, rhetorical, and we move on. That's our culture. That's belonging. No, I didn't feel like I belong. I feel like you ignored me. You know what I mean? And it's getting people to buy into the Serve2Perform way of life, where if you do that, every single person you touch, you make an impact. And you just made their day, and you found a way to help. Imagine a world where every single person lived that way. That's what Serve2Perform does, not only for people, for companies, for communities, for the world. So if you subscribe by that, all these things will take care of itself.
We talk about it, sometimes we love to talk about utopia lifestyle. We love to talk about it in that aspect. That would be great. But we weren't raised in that manner. We weren't, that's not part sometimes of it's just not. But when they come to Serve2Perform, what is it that you offer? What is it that you're going to, I know that you're going to offer all of these things, but in terms of the actual Serve2Perform,
sure,
what do you offer? What can I give you?
So we have a number of programs, right? Okay. So one, we have an entire Serve2Perform immersion, where it includes the book that I wrote that outlines the enablers to achieve Grand Slam performance. So it's called Performance GPA, Achieving High Performance Through Service. And
Performance GPA?
Achieving High Performance Through Service.
Okay.
It was published in 2012, and you can find it on a number of Amazon and I believe Walmart.com, or a number of others that you could online. And but it also includes an assessment that really assesses those enablers. And it's basically an assessment that I designed with a good friend. I'm sure you know him, Dr. Pepe Estrada, who's in the econometrics by trade. And so he and I have really dedicated our lives to doing this work. And we've identified behaviors that work, that are proven to work in helping you as a leader develop three things: your leadership, your influence, and your performance. And so the assessment really helps people understand once you take it, and these are sets of behaviors that are proven to help you develop that capacity. Now you tell us how frequently you're engaged in these behaviors or not, right? And based on that, we built some algorithms within the assessment. It's all online that you complete this assessment. It'll tell you where you are within those three. You're either a positional, functional, organizational within each of those categories: leadership, influence, or performance. And then we're able to help coach you based on what that assessment says where you are, targeted, and helping you grow your capacity. Because we want people not to be a positional leader, meaning, well, I'm only leading according to my title, but I'm not really leading beyond that. We know now how to help you become an organizational leader, because that's basically what you want. You want to be able to lead, influence, and perform across an organization. not just based on what your title says you can or within your team, but then it includes, based on that and the results we get from a team, we customize a program. And it's usually a day and a half full immersion that we basically take the team through, honed in on the areas that we've identified. So that's one. We have that, and that's for folks who really want to go in and buy into it. But then we have a model where we go into companies and we help them launch a Serve2Perform culture. And so that includes, we did it, over COVID, it was all virtual. Some are in person. But then we actually have very specific, we call practice fields within Serve2Perform that allows people to live that way of life in everything they do, whether it's mentoring, so serving others, whether it's serving on a board, and whether it's understanding how to be a better leader as a global leader, understanding that you have some diverse folks that need a different level of attention, need additional resources. Global leaders always recognize that every single person on the team is at a different place. Your job is to figure out where that is, and then help them determine what it is that you both need to do to help them get them where you want to be. Does that make sense? So
that's where, yes, absolutely. That's where the book half work book comes in. I like that. I like that a lot. That there's an assessment that you can actually take after you read what you're reading and understand what you're actually reading, not just take an assessment, not knowing what it is that you're reading. I like that. I like that. There's a lot of workbooks out there. You're like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Just checking boxes, and then you're like, that's not even my personality. At least I don't believe so.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I really, really, really do like that. And the fact that Serve2Perform dives deep into those personal attributes based on what assessment it looked like, based on what they understand, what you understand, and how it works out itself.
Right. Absolutely.
And then going into the companies and identifying those leaders and where they can lead or where they're lacking those leadership skills, where they can develop those leadership skills.
That's exactly right.
I really, really like that. So, with that being said, where is it that I can say I'm not one of the companies? I'm a sole individual, and I want my company to be a part of this. What can I do? How can I find Serve2Perform?
Yeah, it's website. So you quickly go to Serve2Perform.com and encourage you to go through and look at all the services we provide. And if you'd like to sit down with one of us and learn more about it and how we can work together or engage one of the programs that we do, there's some contact information there that allows you to get in touch with us and let's sit down and have that conversation.
Awesome. So it's Serve, the word, the number two, perform.com. Awesome. Okay. Exactly. So let's start wheeling in a little bit. Where else can I find because you guys are doing amazing things during Hispanic Heritage Month also, and y'all have other events that extend throughout the years. Where can I find these events if I am local? The
events are designed such that you don't have to be local to engage the events.
You're right.
Every single one of our events, if they're in person, they're live streamed, or they're virtual. But we did that because of the 3,500 members, I believe is the current count. Many of them don't live in Northwest Arkansas. They live in other markets throughout the U.S. and internationally. We've got some in Europe. We've got some in South America that tune in. But that was the purpose, right? We want Serve2Perform to be a way of life throughout the world. And at the end of the day, if you think about it, Angelica, the one thing that connects us all on this great earth is we all have this innate need to feel like we're making a difference. Serve2Perform serves that need. We all have that need. I don't care what title you are, I don't care what you look like. We all want to help. We all want to make a difference. And so it speaks to everyone and all ages. We've seen younger people today they're hungry for this. And we've seen folks all the way, folks, retirees wanting to give back. And many of them tell us, I wish this was available when I was in the workplace or when I was younger. And, what they don't teach you in most places when you're preparing for the workforce or the job, they teach you the technical expertise, how to do the job, but they don't teach you how to do the job. And what I mean by that is the job is not the tactical technical function.
Push buttons, cut here, do this.
The job is, can you be a team member? Can you be a leader? And that's very different. Those require skills that weren't in the textbook. Those require your ability to be able to interact with people, influence people, connect with people. As I tell folks, it doesn't matter how smart you are. If no one likes you, you're not going to be able to do much with what you know. right?
No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
No one's ever going to give you an opportunity to do anything. You can have all the ideas you want. And so it's not just about, what you know, but how you do it.
It's not about pushing the buttons. It's also about the social skills that you're going to gain and hopefully, play them into the best work possible in teamwork.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Bueno. So really quick, I have something on this paper that I want to read out loud because I think this is very much important. I want to read this because I need people to understand. Those who are watching us, please, if you're watching us, give us a comment, subscribe to the podcast, give us a like on Facebook, all those great things. Give us a comment because when you give us feedback, we know what you like. All right. With that being said, I'm going to read this really quick. At Serve2Perform, with our relationship-focused approach, we offer customized formal learning, social learning, and experimental learning opportunities, which enable leaders to perform more effectively in their role. I think that is a great indication of what Serve2Perform is. A great indication what Serve2Perform is.
Absolutely. And I would just add, I know you meant to say experiential. And the reason we say experiential is because no, that's okay.
That's dyslexia for you.
No, that's okay. It's because, most people learn, if not all people learn best through the process of doing. And so the reason we provide learnings in those three different platforms, the formal learning, as you said earlier, it gives you some context and okay, what's this about before I really kind of go any further? And in the social learning is we align you with other folks who have been in it and have done it to give you some help in relating and connecting to what you just learned in your way. Okay, now go do it. Now I want you to go and practice what you learned and go start connecting and applying to it and relating to it in a deeper way. And that's where the experiential learning comes from.
Okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense. And then come back and let us know how it is it went. How did it go for you?
Absolutely.
Did it work out? Did it not work out?
What do I need to adapt or adjust? Or
what do I need?
Absolutely.
What do I need to resurface, pivot, do something completely separate and different?
That's exactly right.
Awesome.
Yes.
Adam, Dr. Arroyo, these conversations are always a pleasure for me.
Well, likewise.
But at some point we have to stop. Porque I can go on and on and on. And as a very busy person, I understand that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming today and joining me on the podcast again. And as always, we're going to dive deep into other conversations and other topics to be able to do this. So if I want to learn more about Serve2Perform, can you give us a little bit about where I can find Serve2Perform and how I can start engaging with Serve2Perform?
Sure. So, the first one is obviously you go to our website, serve2perform.com, and you can either go through and look at those programs, and we encourage you to contact us. There's contact information on the website, and contact us. I'd love to sit down. We love hearing people's stories and love to meet you. And as people that know me will always tell you, Adam will always offer to buy you a cup of coffee or buy you lunch, and be happy to do that. And, I would just tell you that what I hope people know about Serve2Perform is we love people. And, we wake up in the morning thinking about people. We go to bed at night thinking about people. And we just want to help people achieve what they want to be and be more and do more. And we want to create cultures that people want to be a part of that are fun. And ultimately, if you can get people aligned and working together and helping each other, empowering each other, not only does it make for a better day for each one of them, it empowers the company with the ability to do things they wouldn't have otherwise been able to do. And our community, it builds a strong, vibrant community where everyone feels like they can plug in and belong.
You say things and I'm thinking to myself, Angelica, and I would stop talking because I can go on and feed into a lot of this conversation. Dr. Arroyo, you have the expertise on it. And when I have so many questions, but I think we have to stop.
We'll do it again.
We'll do it again. Yes, we'll bring on more questions and we'll talk more about the topics of Serve2Perform and how the rest of the year is going to look like, all the great stuff that we want to hear. So if you want to be, or if you're interested in learning more about Serve2Perform, go to the Serve2Perform website, engage with the social medias. If you like this podcast, let us know that you like it. Subscribe, go follow Dr. Arroyo on LinkedIn. That's probably the best place to go and get more information. And let him know who you are. Let him know that you're out here doing the amazing, great things as a leader, as a global leader.
Absolutely. Love to hear from you.
With that, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.